welcome to another episode of Wow TV. Thank you so much for being here and for joining so that you can see one of my other interviews. And actually today is not one of another. It's a very, very special interview. I'm actually very excited today, to be very honest with you, to present to you a very beautiful, but not only beautiful, you know, like sassy, like she is showing up today, but also beautiful as in from the inside out. She has shared with me and I have learned from her so much. Please welcome, and everyone's clapping now at home, Karen Baines, the Conscious Karmic Creator Coach. Ta-da!
Hey, Angèle. Oh, wow. Can I even follow that introduction?
No.
We might as well just end it now.
Because I'm going to make you speechless, I'm going to make you shy, and I'm going to make you hide. No, this is the whole aim of actually shining. But I honestly don't know where to start with Karen, because when I crossed videos with Karen, I didn't even cross paths at the time. The first time I noticed you, there was something, I remember around a year ago actually, there was something that intrigued me. And it wasn't only you and your presence and, you know, your beautiful smile and eyes, and I felt a lot of sincerity and honesty. But what you were talking about intrigued me so much, I wanted to know more. And today I am so honored to have you as one of my guests. Karen, thank you so much for being here and for your time.
Oh, darling, thank you. It's a pleasure.
So Karen Baines is a conscious karmic creator coach. Now, I have no idea if you know what this means. I do. But for the sake of those who are like I was a year ago, what is a conscious, I have to say cosmic, I swear, I have to say that. What is a conscious karmic creator? And what does the coach in that respect do?
Okay, so I am pretty cosmic as well, by the way. But yeah, I call myself a conscious karmic creator coach. Karmic creation, the process of karmic creation is the process of how we create our lives. So the word manifesting gets bandied around all the time. Oh, I manifested this and I manifested that, and master your manifesting, da 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 da. But actually, that's what we're designed to do. We're designed to manifest. And conscious karmic creation basically takes that process, the manifesting process, if you like, and really grounds it so that people understand that it's not magic, it's not a magical source or a magical formula that they need to learn how to do. They're actually doing it already. But the conscious part is where I show people how they're doing it anyway, and how the life that they're living, or the businesses that they're running, mainly because my clients tend to be business owners, the way that they're doing that is the karmic creation way. And what we need to do is shine a light on the choices they're making and make them conscious, so they're doing it the conscious karmic creation way. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. And you've put it so simply, but I know that there are people watching this and are saying, huh? Because I remember learning about conscious karma, if you want to use those two words. So perhaps we can break it down, Karen, and with your help, you can help the viewers understand each part of it. So perhaps let's talk about conscious, because obviously I am aware. For me, conscious is being aware, and I am aware where I'm sitting, what I'm doing. But how is the conscious part of the creation process going to help these business owners who are watching us create a better life and business? Let's focus word per word, if that's okay.
Okay, so well, I'll try and do it that way. The conscious part, it's being conscious of your creative process. So that's where the consciousness comes in. I mean, most of the people that are attracted to work with me, and quite possibly your tribe, are probably very spiritual. I would like to think, I would hope that they've got some awareness of universal law, the law of attraction being one of the laws, many, many laws that we're governed by. I would hope that there's that kind of awareness of a higher self and something bigger than them and all of that stuff. So that, I would hope, would be the case. It certainly is with most of my clients. And that's kind of being a conscious being, like having that level of consciousness that we're like, there's a source or there's a higher self. That is a level of consciousness, and everything that comes into your life is a result of your consciousness. The cloudiness happens when people are living their lives and they're creating their lives and they're creating their businesses, and I guess they believe they're doing all of the right things. So if we look at it from a business perspective, they believe they're doing all the right things. So they're like following all the right programs, they're doing Facebook Lives, they've got the funnels going on, all of that stuff. And they think that they're doing everything they can, but the money still isn't showing up. And it's at that point where most people decide that they want to talk to somebody about a higher awareness, a different kind of awareness. So the conscious part of conscious karmic creation is where I come in, because what I then do is show them that they are designed to create. That's what they're designed to do. It's what we're all here to do, what we're all designed to do. And at the moment, as conscious as they are at a certain level, they are making choices that are misaligned, that they are just doing. They don't have any real consciousness over it. It's just the way they're living their lives. The conscious part is shining a light on where those misaligned choices are so that we can realign them and do the karmic creation process. So the karmic part is actually choice and consequence. So every time you make a choice, there is a consequence to that choice. That is the process of creation that we are designed to use. And that is the process of creation that we are using. We make choices and there are always consequences to those choices, right? But the thing is, the consequences of the choices we make energetically mirror back at us the original energy under the choice. So in its simplest terms, let's say that you want a successful business because you want financial freedom. When you feel into your, like, I don't know, 6 months down the road, a year down the road, and you're running the business of your dreams and you've got like the leads coming in and clients signing up and the money in the bank, that all resonates to freedom. That will be your consequence. In order to create that consequence, you have to make choices that are also energetically aligned to freedom. Most people don't realize that with all the mindset work, which is great, I'm not against the mindset work, it's important, but just doing the journaling and staying in the high vibe and the happy vibrations and visualizing and vision boarding and all of that stuff, doing that for a period of time during the day and then going and doing obligation, something that feels like I've got to do Facebook Lives and you really don't want to, or I've got to go and meet with my friend for lunch when I'd actually rather stay at home and do my business, or I've got to, like, what else could it be? I've got to answer all of these Facebook messages, or these, like, I've got to, anything that's got a got to energy about it, or a should energy about it, essentially is an obligation. And then when you go and do those things, you are choosing obligation. And the consequence of that will be more obligation for you to choose, because otherwise, why would you be choosing it? The universe and energy, there's no discrimination there. There's no pigeonholing. The universe doesn't have a perception of positive and negative as we do as human beings. If you choose something, you must want more of it. Otherwise, why would you choose it? It makes no sense, right? So then the universe will deliver more opportunities to choose more obligation or guilt or resentment, and the list goes on and on and on. And as mums, often as women, as business owners in general, as people who want to serve, we tend to do a lot of things in our lives and our businesses that resonate to those like lower vibrational energies, even when we're doing all the right things in our businesses, and then wondering why it's not showing up in our bank account. And that's why, because obligation doesn't align to abundance at all. You're choosing a less than experience for yourself. So I've kind of rambled a bit, I know, and I don't know if I've just like thrown up more questions than answers, but I'm going to shut up now and let you pick my brain. And
no, for me, it's interesting because I'm nodding here because I've gone through the experience. So for anyone who's watching, yes, Karen has been my coach, and this is why you're seeing a new version of myself, because now I've become a conscious karmic creator. But I also remember my journey a year ago, looking and being intrigued that you were speaking energy, because for me, when you discussed energy, and that really captured me. When you discuss energy, energy is something tangible. I mean, okay, we can't touch love or we can't touch power, but I can understand it personally much more than manifesting and, I don't know, vision boarding. And I don't know, I can understand that more because it's logical for me. So those people who are watching us, Karen, and perhaps are intrigued with using energy in their favor, let's put it very simply here. You have taught me how I can analyze and assess what I do in every single area of my life. And that for me was something new, and how to look at it and how to change, because now I started to be aware. So how can someone who's watching us start being aware of not only what they're doing in their business, but also in their life in general, as a whole 360? That for me was life-changing. I thought that was going to be business and money related, and all my life changed.
You start with the target energy. That's where you start. But I think let's demystify the whole energy thing as well a little bit, because we've already demystified manifesting, hopefully. It just is the way you're designed to create. Choice, consequence. The energy underneath the choice will be reflected back at you with the energy of the consequence that you create through making that choice. But energy, again, people talk about energy like it's something that is only readable or attainable to the certain few that have a gift and all. What a lot of rubbish. It's all about the feels. It's all about the feels. It's how you feel. That is the energy. It's very, very simple. And it's very logical, really. Like, most people at some level or another, whether they admit it or not, whether they're even aware of it or not, most people can walk into a room or even assess the mood of their partner before their partner even opens their mouth when they come through the door of an evening. You can feel it, right? You can feel their mood. You know what sort of mood they're in. But it's all about the feels. That's energy. So all you need to do, and it really is simple. Now, I'm not telling you, it's not easy. It's not easy. Angèle is testament to this. When you start digging down into this stuff and you realize how powerful that you are, how powerful you are. With great power comes great responsibility. And once you understand this stuff, you can't blame anyone else anymore, because everything that's happening in your life is a consequence of a choice that you are making. It doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. But energy, demystified, is just all about feels. It's how you feel. It's the energy underneath the choice or the consequence is how you feel about it. So when you want a certain outcome, like, I don't know, an extra, let's say, I mean, I work around money mostly. So let's say you want to manifest €15,000 or £15,000 within the next 6 weeks, right? You're open to like that coming in whichever way, but maybe you've got a new program that you're launching or whatever. So find your target energy. What's your target energy? When you visualize, when you imagine already having that 15 grand in the bank and that client or those clients enrolled in your program, how does it make you feel? When you are looking at what you're going to spend that money on, how does it make you feel? And then give that emotion, give that feeling a name. Does it make, I mean, this is the thing, energy is subjective. So it could be freedom, it could be empowered, it could be successful, it could be, I'm just like, it just makes me feel full of joy. Like how does it make you feel? That's the energy. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that.
It is very simple. And I remember the first time I wrote my target energy, and now literally it's on the side of my studio here. And I look at it and I feel how it would be. You start deleting things automatically from what you are doing because you realize that that has nothing to do with making me feel my target energy. So I remember my first target energy with you was feeling ecstatic.
Yes, that's right.
And I mean, for me, ecstatic is not like, yay, it's like, yay, that for me. And that is, you know, getting new clients and having an event at the President's Palace, which I did, you know, and being able to work with you and being able to have, and even I just raised my own energy whilst I'm talking. And I'm sure you can feel that I'm coming from a different place, just thinking of how it felt like. So you really start picking and choosing from what you're doing. So let's just maybe, I don't know, bring up a very simple example for me. And you mentioned meeting a friend for a coffee. If this friend does not make me ecstatic, does this mean that I should not meet the friend? Yes. And then I remember the toughest word of all kicked in, which is boundaries. So before we jump into money, because I know that many people are intrigued about yourself and your skills and how to get more money, let's speak a tiny bit. I'd like to touch on this because I feel that where I come from and my tribe, they really struggle with the word boundaries. They've no idea where to start. And I would like to deliver a message to them through you. How are we going to go to this person and say, actually, you know what, you're not bringing me joy. You're not creating ecstatic for me. Where is that fine line in being rude or being respectful to ourselves? It's very hard, especially if we go to family.
Mm-hmm. It is like I said, it's simple in theory, but it is not easy. Like, how can you go to somebody that actually you care about and you don't really want to hurt anybody, but then tell them, do you know what, man, having coffee with you really sucks? Like, how do you do that? Okay, well, you don't say that, but at the same time, you know, you don't want to lie about it, because then you're choosing to be dishonest and you're choosing to be out of integrity. So these things, when it comes, this is kind of like, I call it like detoxing. It's like the big detox, the detox of energy. And boundaries, honestly, it is one of the biggest areas that creates the biggest shift. When you're people pleasing and you're going about your life doing things because it's just quicker and easier if you do them, or because you don't want to upset anybody. They're the two main things, right? We don't want to upset anybody, or it's quicker if we do it ourselves. Both of those choices are misaligned. And what we're choosing then is a less than experience, right? So that is a boundary issue. You know, if you say to the kids or your husband, like, I want help with I want help loading the dishwasher, or I want help sorting out the laundry, and then and they all say, yeah, all right, Mum, yeah, all right, and then they don't, and then you just carry on, but this time you're loading the machine and there's that little bit of needle underneath, there's that little bit of resentment. You're then choosing resentment. And then when you go and have a conversation with that person, over a period of time, that resentment builds up because you're choosing it. So there'll be more opportunities to choose resentment. Having those tough conversations with people, telling them in the nicest possible way that this may be the last time you meet them for coffee, for whatever reason, unless there's a way that that meeting can be more on your terms. Having that tough conversation is really, really hard. But here's the thing about it. When you make a new choice for yourself, when you reset and communicate and then enforce, this is important, when you actually enforce that new boundary, you are valuing yourself. You are saying, I am worth this. And that sends that is a choice. That sends that choice out to the universe. The universe will deliver more reasons for you to choose value, which could look like a new client. You know, just because, and this is really important. So many people think that if they're making the right choices in their business, their businesses should be, why aren't, like, people come to me, I've been doing this for 6 months. I did this program, I did that program. I did everything I was meant to do. I'm doing all of this. What am I doing wrong? Why isn't it working for me? Well, the reason why it's not working for you is because at home, you're completely unsupported by your partner. And you feel devalued, but you don't know how to have, or you don't want to have that tough conversation, maybe risk losing the relationship, or just upsetting somebody's day, or even hurting somebody. Like, because sometimes when we tell someone that we need to reset a boundary, we're almost running the risk of having that person not feel good enough, because we're saying the way you're behaving isn't enough for me anymore. And we don't want to upset people. We don't want to hurt people. But the fact of the matter is, every time we're called into a bigger version of ourselves, our boundaries will be called upon to be like reset as well. That happens every single time. You can't get away from that. And if you're choosing a less than experience by not having your boundaries honoured, by allowing people to stomp on you at whatever degree that is, you are choosing a less than experience. You are devaluing yourself, and the universe has no choice other than to give you more opportunities to be devalued, which may well look like people not buying your program.
Karen, are you saying that the word devalue is literally the opposite of making money in your business in whichever area? So if I am devaluing myself and I'm not respecting myself and I'm never having a break and I'm going on about the business, or I'm really putting all the uncomfortable conversations under the carpet, would both these be devaluing myself? Hence, this is why the money is not showing up in the business?
I'm afraid so. And nobody wants to hear that. But yeah, that is fact. Because the universe, because energy does not discriminate. So every choice that you're making, and a really important point that you brought up there, Angèle, is the relationship with yourself. If you are not honouring yourself, let's say, for example, you have been I don't know, like you've been like meaning to lose some weight or go for a walk every day. That's pretty common when us women get to a certain age, right? Unless we're second energy center and we love all that exercise stuff. Most of us, yeah, like you, most of us will not fancy going swimming every day, right? But like the clothes get a little bit tighter, and you know, we start looking in the mirror and we get that vision of ourselves looking completely not the way we think we look most of the time, get a bit sluggish. So I want to get into my little black summer dress, and it's nagging. It's going on and on and on and on and on. But you're still not doing it. You're out of integrity. Like this body that you are inhabiting in this lifetime is the vehicle for your very soul. And it is your job, it is your responsibility to get this physical body as safely as possible from A to B, birth to death. And that means looking after it. And if you're not making time in your schedule to take care of said body, you are not valuing yourself. Now, I am not saying go and do an exercise regime that winds up feeling like obligation. Like for me, going to the gym every week would not work because it would feel like obligation, and then I'd be choosing obligation, and then I'd be given the opportunity to choose more obligation. But every single one of us, when there's something we desire, like a healthy body, for example, when there's something that we desire at a soul level, there is always one step that we can make that will get us closer to that energy, and there is always that energetic choice available. Now, whether you choose it or not, again, it's up to you.
I like
Sorry?
I like that you described and used the word nagging, Karen. Sorry, I didn't want to stop you, but we can get back to it.
Yeah, most of the things that nag us, when something's nagging us, it's nagging us for a reason. If there's something that's coming over to the to-do list all of the time, if there's something that you can't let it go, or it won't let go of you, and you can't delegate it, you can't hire somebody else to do it for you, and it's just that is the signal from your soul that there is something there that's available to you, that when you find the way to do it so that it energetically aligns. So maybe yoga's for you. Go back to the exercise as an example. Maybe yoga is more for you. Maybe Zumba or dancing. Maybe just walking like through like beautiful nature. But there will always be something that is available to you, independent of everybody else. And when you've got that nagging, it's telling you that it is available. And when you make that choice, you are energetically aligning yourself to more money. You are to more abundance. You are, because money resonates to two energies, responsibility and power. And you have a responsibility to take care of your body in this lifetime.
I love how we just literally blended into money, because I was going to just say, Karen, everyone's watching and wants to know more about the money. And you just mentioned the two energies of responsibility and power, and something personal that I did whilst working with you, and it always changed and created new money for me, was to actually look at what I've been procrastinating about around money and pay that pending bill, or put the money there where I should be putting it, which is a should because it's a responsibility. And it's always created something. So perhaps I don't know if you can share something tangible with our viewers, what they can do to today look at something in what they're doing in the money department so that they start clearing this bad energy.
Absolutely, I absolutely can. I was asked the other day, what is one of the most common areas where people make misaligned choices with their money? And this is so powerful. It's really uncomfortable, which is perfect, and it's energetically aligned. So it's got all the right ingredients to create a big shift really quickly. If you are ignoring your money, if you don't want to look at your bank account, you don't want to know, you don't, like, worst case scenario, and I do hope none of you are in this position, but the worst case scenario, you don't even want to open your envelopes in the morning and look at the bills. If that's you, you are choosing to ignore money. Energetically, you're telling money you don't want it around. If it were a person and you were walking down the street and it was somebody like, I don't know, say for example your mother-in-law, the last person you want to have a conversation with today, and they're walking towards you, cross the road, ignore them. I don't want you in my life. It's the same with money. It's energy. And when you're choosing to ignore money, the universe will respond absolutely perfectly. There will be no money for you to ignore because you don't want it. You just don't want it. So the most powerful thing that anybody can do, and there's kind of different levels for this as well. So absolutely, if you're one of those people that is in financial strife at the moment and you don't want to look at it and you think about it and it just, that contraction happens, darlings, take a deep breath, go open that bank account, start looking at what's coming in, start looking at what's going out, because then you are taking responsibility for your money. And money resonates to responsibility and power. So that will create a shift out of the gate. I can't tell you how uncomfortable it is for a lot of people. Okay, I mean, I've had clients sign up with me for high-end programs, paid a lot of money, and then we get to this stuff pretty early on, and they don't come back because they would rather not look at their money. And I know that sounds insane, but it's absolutely true. It's happened to me twice. They just don't want to look at it. And that's why they don't have any. Or that's why they're not up leveling in their businesses past that. People call it a ceiling. It's actually a vibrational range, but past that range, they're not able to up level. So maybe though, you're really great at looking at your bank account and you've got it all going on. Okay, well, maybe there's a pattern there where you pay your bills on time, but you tend to leave them to the last minute. Again, pay the bill. Got the money, pay the bill. It circulates. It's your responsibility to pay the bill because of the service you're being delivered. That is, like, if you look at it in terms of like your basic needs, so maybe your gas and electric bill, when that comes in, pay it. You're enjoying heat and light. And your body needs that in order to optimally perform. And you are responsible for your body, so pay the bill. You're being responsible. And the money will, like, it circulates. It's there, it will come back always, usually tenfold. Okay? People tend to hang on to the last minute before they pay their bills because they're afraid that once it's gone, it's gone. That's not how it works. Okay? So pay the bill. If you've got that all going on and you're looking at your bank accounts regularly, then yay. Maybe there's somewhere else though. Maybe there's somewhere else you could step up your game. So maybe you've been thinking about transferring energy supplier, going back to like the gas and electric. Or maybe you've been thinking about transferring a credit card balance. Or maybe you're just leaving your bookkeeping and your accounts, your tax return to the last possible minute. And here it is again. Nag, 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 nag. Anything that you are not doing with your money that you've been meaning to do, that you just put off, that is a choice you're making. Yes, it's a choice not to do, but the avoidance, the energy underneath the avoidance, whether it's fear or lack, usually is one of those two, that is an energy you are choosing. So that is the most powerful thing anybody can do. Literally right now, this minute, once they've finished watching the video, go and find a way to really engage with your finances.
I'm really happy you actually mentioned even lack and fear, because my next question is going to be, I come from a mentality and an upbringing of save your money for the worst days to come. And something I've been around, and it's very difficult for me to switch off, but I have consciously now switched it off, and sometimes it feels like I'm crazy. And I don't know if any one of you watching this relates, but for me and my upbringing, the fact that I have something on the side for the tragic day obviously is coming from a lot of fear. So now I don't create that. Now if I have something and I prefer investing in myself and getting a kick-ass coach like yourself, that's what I do. What can you tell me about this? I obviously know, and I'm aware that it's a wrong energy, but I feel that a lot of my people come from this space and they're afraid to invest, and they're afraid to put their hand in that money, whereas for myself, I actually closed savings plans to be able to invest, and now I grew from that. Why is that a better choice than the other, or why should it not be done in the first place?
No aligned choice could ever possibly come from choosing fear, ever. Choosing fear is probably one of the most, it's a very sad place to be. As soon as you start choosing a more than experience, whatever that looks like, more opportunities will show up for you to choose more. And again, like I said before, if you've got a true soul desire to work with a certain coach or buy a particular program, that is the signal from your soul that that's the aligned choice. And the thing about that is, your soul would never wave a carrot in front of you if it weren't available. I mean, that would be ridiculous. So there's always a choice available to get you closer to your goal, whether that's working with a new coach or hiring a new team member or going on that family holiday or getting that new relationship. There is always something new that you can do that's energetically aligned to create what you want. Always. And that fear, let's talk about that fear for a minute, because there's a difference between that fear of lack, that fear that of that terrible day that's going to come, that negative, let's call it a negative fear, and then there's that fear that you get when you make that first payment to that coach, but you've got that, it's like trepidation, it's like excitement, it's fear and excitement. So that whisper is your soul. The other one, the fear and the dark fear, that's your ego holding you back and keeping you the same. And you must learn, you must master how to figure out the difference between the two, because fear keeps us stuck for many people for many, many years. It keeps us very stuck. And people think that, I'm terrified to put my prices up. I'm afraid that if I put my prices up, then people won't be able to afford me. People won't buy from me. It's not true. It is absolutely not true. And when you don't put your prices up because you're afraid, you are choosing fear Nothing will change in your life. And that's the clue. Nothing will change. Whereas if you do put your prices up, it's going to be scary. It's going to be a little bit exciting, because what if somebody does? And then when somebody does buy and that money lands in your bank account, you can then use that money to go and invest in your coach or your holiday, and something has changed. You've done something differently that is energetically aligned, and something has changed. That's how you know. That's how you know which fear to listen to and which fear to ignore. Unfortunately, the darker fear can be very seductive. It can have a real safety blanket around it and be very comfortable. But let me tell you, the magic happens outside of the comfort zone.
Definitely. That's proven. I'm literally proof in the pudding, and I'm the pudding, because I remember when I was mesmerized by Karen's work, and then we had a chat, and I was seeing her all over the place, and I knew I needed to work with her. But I said, I don't have it right here, right now. What can we do? And you know what I did? I actually created the money to be able to invest. And for me, at that point in time, a number of months ago now, it honestly and truly felt impossible. But I wanted it so bad that it became possible, and it became true. And we are here today because I followed my soul's whisper. And if in any part of this conversation you have been intrigued by what Karen is saying, or perhaps by my experience, just do make sure that you are going to listen to what this, little pull is, or little nudge. Because I honestly, and I'm not trying to make a testimonial here, I'm just sharing my joy. This woman has changed my life. It's been so beautiful to realize that every step I take is actually in my own power, and whatever I create is actually with my own capabilities and gifts and knowledge. And as soon as you realize these things, and as soon as you're like, actually, you know what, I can create an offer. And if it comes honestly from a space of love rather than fear, or excitement rather than, dread or resentment, then you create more of it. And even perhaps if it sounds airy-fairy or all over the place, when Karen tells you what you have to do and what is next and why you're experiencing this, it just becomes so much easier to do, but hard to implement because it's uncomfortable. I think the key word of today is discomfort. If we are going to be comfortable, we are not going to achieve anything, especially big and large amounts of money in our bank accounts, right?
Absolutely. We've got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. If we want successful businesses, if that is a true soul desire, and if you're here, I'm guessing it is, because otherwise you'd be the other 97% that just comfortably draw a paycheck and turn up to a 9-to-5 job every day. And you're here because you're not one of those people. So you've got to get comfy with being uncomfortable.
I like that. One of my last put-togethers for the whole conversation is actually going to revolve around your favorite quote, which actually I've been using as well in the past months, because it really explains it so simply. And I would like to ask you why you resonate with the great Einstein, not only because of wisdom for sure, but if you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got. How do you incorporate this in the conscious karmic creation world and in your business, Karen?
Probably just encapsulate it, like that quote. I mean, I kind of say it the Essex way versus the Einstein way, which is if you do what you've always done, you get what you always got.
But
it's just, we just don't use as many ways. But for me, that really is the crux of conscious karmic creation. The life that you have now, the life that you're experiencing now in this very moment, is a consequence. All the people in it, the money in your bank account, the roof over your head, the relationships you have, your health, everything that you have that is a part of your third dimensional reality right now is a consequence of a choice that you have made. Many little choices, some big ones, some huge ones, some that you've been making for years that just feel like normal, that you're not even aware that you're making them. But these choices create your experience. In order to create a new third dimensional experience, you have to do something differently. You have to, because the choices you're making are creating your current experience. It's illogical to think that if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to get something different. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. So if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got, really is the mantra for a conscious karmic creator. Because a conscious karmic creator wants more. And if you want more, you've got to find out what that looks like for you and then go choose it. That's how you create more. And that you do that by doing it differently, by doing it the conscious karmic creation way, the energetically aligned way. You're doing it already. Please believe me when I tell you you're doing it already. You're just doing it the unconscious karmic creator way.
Yeah. And it's also okay to want more. I think that's another thing, because obviously we can talk for another hour, but it's also okay to want more, because you have shared with me and I have learned from you that our soul wants more. If I make as a goal that I want 4 figures a month and I have achieved this, now I want more. And this is just nature. This is human nature. I'm not trying to be greedy or whatever. This is just nature.
There is no such thing as greed. There is no such thing as greed, and there is no such thing as selfishness. And I could talk about that for a long time, so I won't get into that right now, but there is no such thing as that. And every time you create a certain income level, your soul will call you to create a new income level. Why? Not because of greed, not because of selfishness. But when you create that new income level, you get to experience yourself. Your soul gets to experience itself in a new way. And that's what it's here for. Your soul came here for a human experience. And it gets bored pretty quickly. Like 3 months, 5 months in the same experience. Yep, I want a bit more. I want more. Give me more. Show me more. Help me experience myself through you even more. And that's divine self-expression. And when we're divinely self-expressed, the only possible outcome for divine self-expression is abundance. The only possible outcome. And that's why it shows up as money.
That's just the mic drop moment that I'm going to leave it there, because honestly, we could talk for so much longer. But I know that there are people who are intrigued and they're going to go crazy and look for you and find you and connect with you, and do so. Your life is not going to be the same. I cannot be unconscious anymore. And sometimes I'm not going to say exhausting, but it's so, you become so aware that if I'm going to decide to just continue working after this session, but it doesn't do me well, I just know. Now I know. And when you become so aware after working with this beautiful woman, it just honestly, everything starts rolling out so much easier. If it's life or business or choices or tiny decisions or huge decisions, you just know. So if you're intrigued, if you want more money in your bank account, if you want to really be conscious of your choices and what you're doing next, and if you want to really strengthen those boundaries and get support when you're doing the uncomfortable conversations, we're going to drop Karen's links in the comments below. Do connect with her. She's an amazing person to speak to, and she's an amazing woman to work with, because no, it will not be easy, but it's very simple. And she will give you the exact equation and the exact ingredients of what you have to do. Karen, thank you so much for being here. I am so honored. And I am also going to share with everyone that you made me successful in my business because I've been so conscious, and I have created the money to be able not only to invest in you, but to create my new reality. And it has become a constant. So thank you also publicly for that. And if you want to do something new that you have never done, Karen is right here. I don't know if you want to close with something in particular, Karen, to kind of wrap it all up, what you offer and what you do for people besides changing their lives like you did mine.
By all means, come over and join me on my Facebook page. I'm there at the moment every week rolling out my A to Z of Conscious Karmic Creation, where I talk about many different perspectives and different aspects of the conscious karmic creation process and how you can implement those choices. That's really, really important. This isn't mindset. It is not mindset. You have to do it. You have to do it. And so many people trip up there. So come on over, listen to, like, I think I've done up to letter D. I'm doing it every week. So you can join me there. And absolutely, if anybody wants to know what it would look like to work with me, I'm always ready to see if you're my next energetically aligned client, to follow on in the footsteps of Angèle. And that's about it. One thing I will ask you, just one thing, just take a minute at the end of the call and check in what like to have that business that you truly, truly want. And then ask yourself, what can I do differently today to align me with that? And go and do it. And that's it. And thank you for having me, of course. It's been a pleasure.
My absolute pleasure. There's your homework, Wondrous Online Women. You know what you have to do now. You literally sit with it, do it, and write it for yourself. Because if you've always done what you always did, you will always get what you always got. Working with Karen will not have the same result, and you will change. And you will see that everything will start blossoming around you. And even you start blossoming. You might even grow pink hair, so be careful. Thank you so much, Karen. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure to have you. Thank you for changing me and making me more conscious and aware. Actually, you didn't change me. I think you made me more aware. So you brought out, those elements in me which were perhaps hiding or laying in fear. And now all the layers of the onion have, been unraveled. And there's the core there ready to take the world. Thank you. It's been an honor having you. And I will see you very, very soon. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching.
Bye-bye.